for us as podcasters, doing all of that work on our own, it can be incredibly overwhelming to the point where most people don't even get to their 20th episode of a podcast.
A lot of people that have the successful podcast, it's because they were consistent over time. They have an inspiring message to share and value to share and be able to lead people in through this experience. But the majority of shows that are successful have grown that over time and they start to rank.
There's so many different strategies. Like even if there's like little tweaks to your content titles, like if you have keywords in your titles on YouTube, like your video can take off.
Hey everyone, it's Tamara Thompson with Broadcast Your Authority, and I'm super grateful for our next guest. My co-host Danielle Thompson is here today, and we're live with Colin Egglesfield, who is an incredible human being. He's an actor, a speaker, a coach, a consultant, but not just that, he's just an incredible person and an incredible soul. So we're super grateful to have you here today.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting. I watched a podcast interview with you and a buddy of mine, Brian Bogart, and that was actually what allowed me to reach out. I knew who you were. I'd watched some movies and things like that in the past, but that wasn't the reason I reached out. It was like, I was like, oh, I wonder what he's up to now. Like, what's he doing? And I was like, oh, he's got a podcast. And I was like, well, what's this about? Like Beyond Impact. I'm like, oh, and I started like doing the research and I was like, he does Inspire retreats. He loves Sedona. I was like, this soul is meant to connect. But I just loved what you're doing. Like you have a retreat coming up in Ireland.
Yeah.
Like there's like when I saw that, I was like, okay, he's got retreats coming up in Sedona, Scottsdale, all the things. And I felt connected in some way or another. My soul literally was like, I must connect with him. I want to help support him. I was like, I know we can help introduce you to other people in our tribe because I felt the energy was right with our community. And so that was why I actually reached out to you and was grateful that you reached back.
Well, I'm grateful that you did because I'm in this whole world of discovering podcasting and trying to get my message out there. And as an actor, you know, my training is in how to communicate, but the whole ball game of the marketing, the PR, the back end, the technology, it can be incredibly overwhelming. And as an actor, I'm so used to having a director, a producer, a wardrobe stylist, the caterer person. Like it takes a team to make a movie. There's typically about 50 to 100 people that are on the back end of producing a TV show or a film. So for us as podcasters, doing all of that work on our own, it can be incredibly overwhelming to the point where I can see where a lot of people, I think most people don't even get to their 20th episode of a podcast.
It's true. I think it's like
it's so challenging.
I think the stats are over 50% don't go past episode 8,
Wow.
which is incredible. Like it's like, and because people might not see results right away, they just give up, right? Or they're like, oh well, I did it, but what did you really do, right? Like 8 episodes is really nothing because a lot of people that have the successful podcast, it's because they were consistent over time, right? And they have an inspiring message to share and value to share and be able to lead people in through this experience. But the majority of shows that are successful have grown that over time and they start to rank.
Yeah. And what's interesting is like a lot of people come to us and we do have people with like the ulterior motive where they're like, I want to be famous, blah, blah, blah.
I want to go viral
and
today.
They're like, they only put in like a month of work and they expect to be like the next Mel Robbins or Tony Robbins or big name in the industry. And it's like, there's so many different strategies. Like even if there's like little tweaks to your content titles, like if you have keywords in your titles on YouTube, like your video can take off. There's other strategies for like YouTube, like keywords in the description, keywords in the tagging. Like we just had a doctor's content take off, and you probably already shared that.
I did on day one, yeah.
But it's like, it's just about like doing the market research, understanding the data, and also understanding like polarizing content. Like it has to be, some content has to be polarizing enough and have a different opinion than others and actually get traction on YouTube.
The thing that we've seen with a lot of our clients, just because it's polarizing content, because it's the way that people approach content, right? The way that the polarizing content's been with our clients is because they're so passionate about it. Their view and their passion seeps through that episode. but it's also polarizing. There could be people that just come in there like, hey, like different type of energy or vibe. But when they have the passion and the polarizing together, we've seen multiple episodes take off, which is interesting. You don't have to always be polarizing, but I think it's an interesting combination.
Yeah, it seems like, with the nightly news, unless there's someone who was run over or there was a car crash or there was a fire, the ratings go down. And anytime I've talked to
all the
some
negative
of my
things in the
network
world,
friends, they try to put positive content out there and for whatever reason, we are more attracted to the polarizing stuff. So how do we create content that is interesting, that is beneficial and insightful to people? Mm-hmm. But I think that's where the copy and the hooks of what I'm
Reels,
starting to learn
TikTok, shorts,
it's not just I was doing a podcast called Coffee with Colin, and I was during COVID. I was like, I'm bored, so I might as well have
coffee every day.
And I was putting, I'm like interviewing so and so from this TV show, and it wasn't really gaining traction. And until I started to look at like AI and being able to upload my podcast and then having it spit out the most viral headlines or topic titles to be able to put up there that generates the keywords. There's an AI platform called Taja AI that I've been using for my podcast now, and it just gives you a bunch of ideas after you upload your podcast in there. And I think that definitely helps. But I'm curious to actually start working with you because of your ability to be able to, it seems like you've been able to support so many people and gaining that traction. Yeah. And really, what I've recognized too, it's the consistency of doing a podcast.
It is, yeah. And I see that you do your show live on Monday nights. Is it consistently weekly or bi-weekly or like when I have time on Monday night?
Yeah, I try to do it live Monday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Because I think it's important that if you do want to gain a following, that your followers and your listeners know that they have something to look forward to every week. And that's what I've read and what I've heard is the best way to create that long-term trajectory of followers.
The live streaming thing, people have actually asked this in this room too. The live streaming aspect, there's certain parts of it that are great, right? So you go live, people know they're going to have the live following audience, right? So, but what I've been telling our clients though, so if they I'm going to go live on Facebook, they're like, oh, well, I go live on YouTube. But the thing about YouTube is it doesn't always allow the subscribers to know that you're live.
Right.
So the way that we actually produce with our clients that love the live show, it's like you use StreamYard and it goes live to Facebook, LinkedIn. You can go to different platforms. But I say don't click the YouTube button because what we're going to do is we're going to take that video, repurpose it, edit it to make it look more sexy, stuff like that, templates. But we're going to create a different thing. We're going to put the hook in the beginning of the edit. Then it's going to do the intro. Then it's going to lead into the episode. So it's an edited version versus going live.
To work with you.
And then from there, because of the fact that you would have to go back in, because a program pushes it live to YouTube, it does not automatically optimize it. So you have to go back in and be like, oh, shoot, now that it's live, now I got to go back in the back end of YouTube. Find the right keywords, add everything in there, do the descriptions, find the titles. And so that's the formula we use with the clients that love to go live. So you can launch it the next day, right?
It's
so you
a good point because
you want to optimize it.
The title, I don't always know what we're going to be talking about on the podcast. And something might come out of the podcast and be like, you know what, that's the best part of the podcast that we should create the title around that would get the best following.
Because once you take that video that we don't publish live, so we take that, we transcribe it, find the best title, create the best hook for the thumbnail, because the thumbnail may not be the same title that's actually on the video itself. So yes, we do have episodes where we'll put the exact title if it's short enough. But a lot of the times you want something that's more hook friendly for the thumbnail. So you have maybe you and your guests, their faces are big and it's a 3-word title to have overcoming burnout, right? So if the full title is how to overcome burnout with relaxation, I don't know, whatever the long form is, the actual thumbnail on the YouTube channel that would be designed after you're live would be like overcoming burnout, like big, bold. It could be like, oh, I need to overcome burnout, you know? So there's just little strategies on there that's why we always say, like, don't go live on YouTube because it's not going to notify the people that are subscribers. But when you do upload it properly after the live stream, then you have the opportunity for YouTube to actually suggest it more to the audience. So it's very strategic.
Because I use StreamYard, which allows you to stream
Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Yeah.
Do you recommend streaming it to Instagram Live, or does it matter? Like, what's the best strategy?
Well, for you personally, I believe you have, I took a look, I think you have like over like 184,000 followers.
189.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I was 5,000 off.
But it's crazy because like
No,
I was talking to Brian about this last night. It's like, you know, each week it'll be like I gained 2,000 followers, but then I lost 1,000 or 1,000, 1,800. Like Instagram, it's hard to understand what these algorithms are, and it's just like you can get lost in all that.
Well, there's different things that come through, like bots. Like bots can go off of keywords and hashtags and stuff. So like there's bots out there that can come in, and then Instagram and Facebook will come in and they'll find the bots and deactivate those accounts. So that could be one scenario. But I would say going live on Instagram is good because it gives that version of it. But then what we're going to do is take the YouTube video and repurpose it with those edited clips, find the best hooks, and then re-push content out more consistently back to the episode because we want to make sure we're promoting the YouTube link within the first 72 hours. So you're pushing traffic, you got the consistency factor, you're pushing at least, a few a week to lead back to it. And your call to action is like, hey, on that particular platform would be a link in bio because you cannot put a clickable link in the comments of Instagram specifically. So then you turn around and be like, link in bio, so they'll go there, like watch the full episode. You don't have to swap out. People are always like, oh, I need to swap out the episode link for the exact episode in my bio every single week. You don't have to do that. Lead them back to the playlist, and because the playlist is going to have automatically the information of the newest episode, right?
Yeah.
Put the playlist of your YouTube channel in your Instagram bio because you can put several links unless you have like a link in bio site or link tree site, which you can put multiple links in there. And so that's what's unique about it is like you want them to go to the link in the bios. Where do you want them to be? Because you can put multiple ones. You're like, oh, well, they give them the option to watch on YouTube and subscribe. Give them the option to listen on Apple Podcasts. Oh, give them the option to listen on Spotify because they're an Android user.
I have a question. How important are YouTube Shorts?
Very, very, very.
So what's the I guess the launch strategy? You repurpose the YouTube video, put it up, and then after that, you just consistently drop the shorts to promote the main video?
So depending on with our clients, depending on which offers they're on, we consistently post at least 5 a week. So what we've seen though, like we could double up on the content with it, right? So if you double up on the content, it's going to get more views. So right now we're seeing that 67% of new subscribers are coming from shorts. Okay. So, and they're getting the most views right now, thousands of views on some of you can get thousands of views faster on the shorts than your main content unless you already have a following. And that's the way a lot of the channels will start to take off.
And then you link all the shorts back to the longer form content.
Exactly.
Because they have that feature now, add relatable video.
Yeah. So once the shorts are launched, it's one extra step our team does after they've actually launched. So our SEO guy, Paul, he goes in the back end after the shorts have launched and he goes and relinks that video that will go back to the main episode. So yeah, it's a very popular method to do that. It's just the consistency and the frequency of it, really. Yeah.
So you're saying 5 shorts, like
at least
each day, drop a new short?
Yes, at least like Monday through Friday, or maybe it's like Wednesday through Saturday or Sunday. You can test that. You can do it daily. I mean, there's different ways to do it, but definitely at least 5 a week because you got your episode content and then your shorts can go out all the days after that. And then your episode drops the next week, keeps the consistency. So YouTube's like, oh, I like this, Colin, because I'm seeing you daily. You're putting out more stuff. And so it will reward you for that effort too. So, yeah.
Is there an AI program that does that automatically?
There are, but what I've seen, they don't technically select the best clips. Yeah. Like they say, they're like, this is the most viral clip. And, there's tools like that. But what we've seen is our team will still go back in and they'll be like, they pay such attention to detail. They're like, yeah, Opus Clip did this and this program did this. And it's like, here's 40 of the best viral clips. And we'd look at it, we're like, why does it start on that? We like look at it, we're like, that's not viral. That's not a hook. That's not inspiring. Like, why is it picking these?
Yeah.
So a lot of the times our copywriters and our producers will go log in and they'll individually select the best from what it spits out. So we do use the tools for efficiency, but normally we have the copywriters go into the transcript and find those golden nuggets, and then they give the timestamps to the video editors or put it in the actual, AI tool. So yes, people have had clips take off, but I think the efficiency factors there, but the attention to detail to finding the right hooks takes a little bit of human touch.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out like another thing that we've learned is really important is like, okay, when the egg prices were really high, like tying that into the beginning of your content somehow, because the algorithm picks up that egg keyword.
It's a little tricky.
And it actually helps it get ranked higher in the algorithm.
Well, that's a little bit difficult based on the topic that you're doing. So if you find something that's trending or a topic that's out there that you could be talking about, like people talk about inflation, like she said, if that's something that works for your brand, then you could tie that in. And
like, especially if you're doing like recipes.
Holding an egg. If holding an egg in the beginning of your episode, let's talk about inflation.
No,
it's on your stomach. No, it works.
Like
a
carton in your hand. I hate the ones where they're dropping the eggs, but that really... that causes
trend
emotion.
took off. Yeah, and that's what takes off. So I was telling our clients recently, like when you record some of your content, like drop in that extra cell phone video. Maybe it's you like talking about the episode. Maybe it's you walking and talking with a cell phone or something. Like just have like some more movement or something. Because obviously we take clips from the video, but if you take just a few extra moments to record a couple of clips, like a teaser, like cell phone vertical, more organic base. Drop those files into the team because we can edit that too. And if you have something like a movement into the screen that can be more for the shorts, a little bit more dynamic, we're open to doing more of the creative stuff with and for you and strategizing it too.
So that being said, the first couple seconds of a podcast are obviously super important because you want to grab someone's attention.
That's why the hook in the beginning is very important. So you pick anywhere up to like a 10-second hook from the video itself. Get that sound bite in the beginning of the YouTube video. And then it's like, maybe it's a little animation of like the show or something.
And then do you recommend, because my podcast is called Beyond Impact and it's all about supporting people.
Which is a great name.
Thank you. More impactful and confident with speaking, giving presentations, one-on-one conversations. Because as someone who is a recovering introvert, high anxiety, getting up in front of groups of people to speak, everyone wonders, well, why would you choose a profession where millions of people are watching you? And
I'm sure that's searched highly. Like, I'd be curious to go in the back end to see how your channel is doing.
Yeah, I think I need to incorporate more of that. So I guess my question is, how often do you keep repeating what your podcast is about in the beginning? Or do you need to do that? Or do you just jump right in and talk about like, hey, everyone, I know your anxiety level is high because the price of eggs and everything else are up. But if you're wondering how you can speak better, like how's the best way to start your podcast to get maybe some new followers and hook them?
Yeah, definitely juggle some eggs.
Yeah. Well, you primarily, you primarily do guest interviews, correct?
Yeah.
Have you done any like solo episodes or been open to it? Those can be way shorter format to balance the channel and your time, like because people are searching for that. How to, get rid of anxiety, how to, whatever all the things that you've done in life and business, all those topics that people ask you about, like in person, take that topic that people ask you about and create that. You can even do Q&A styles as well and have maybe 2 shows a month are the impact with interviews and 2 are with Colin. It doesn't have to be coffee with Colin, but you could have coffee with you. But you know what I mean?
Like, and is it better to have, because I know Mick was talking about, he's got Mick Unplugged. Yeah,
but his is purely interview-based.
Different companies. Because I started out with coffee with Colin, and during pandemic, it was fine because it was more of just like, okay, everyone's bored sitting around and maybe they want to hear what their favorite actor is doing and what, about their career and that sort of thing. But as I started to do the podcast, I started talking to people and they said, well, what is Coffee with Colin? It's just a lifestyle talk show. And my goal was to start positioning myself as a corporate consultant for communication to get hired by corporations and get hired to do public speaking. And so creating this brand Beyond Impact,
I think it could go in
create some credibility
different verticals with it,
so that when people Google me, they're not just seeing me with my shirt off in a soap opera clip, that I'm actually a legitimate certified coach that has been doing this for years. And I've done training to be able to support my clients in becoming more impactful and confident with their communication. Do you recommend keeping both podcasts, or does it split your following? Because sometimes I feel like I want it, like Jimmy Johnson is a race car driver, and I had him on my podcast because I met him at a charity event. And I was like, well, is this Beyond Impact? Is this just lifestyle Coffee with Colin? Does it matter if you have multiple podcasts? Does it hurt you? Does it help you?
It with your time and energy, depending on that, if you're open to having two podcasts, I say keep both and determine what goes here and what goes there. So we have multiple podcasts, and it's just one vertical. So we've got Broadcast Your Authority that obviously inspires people through conversations about people that have built success with their passion and scaled businesses primarily. And we talk about content as well. We have our Women Unlocking Wealth show where we're inspiring women to step into their confidence, because there's a very small percentage of women in business that actually reach their 7-figure mark. And so we created that show to have other guests that have done what other women want to do in their business and inspire them with that show. Our Courageously You show, we come in and we share more of the impactful, courageous, inspiring stories. So all of them lead into different avenues. Broadcast Your Authority primarily leads into our podcasting space and energy and our offers. The Women Unlocking Wealth it's being built out right now, where we're going to help consult more women in business leadership on that side. And the Courageously You is leading into a new demographic that we're launching back into our content marketing system Flow. So it's about... And you
have separate email lists for all three that you then have funnels for?
Yes. And so because we've built this one very successfully, we know that we can accomplish it with these. And so now that we have these driven, mission-driven purposes that are also going to generate business and help other people, we're like, a podcast is a great opportunity to lead into different directions. So I say having two podcasts is great. What's the end goal with both? Who fits on what? Which one can you also be in there and be the authority more and do some of the teaching elements that people are looking for? Because you're really good, obviously on camera and speaking. So I think people would also value seeing you on solo episodes and that educational, inspiring piece. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the targeting needs to just be more defined.
Yeah.
You need to know the exact keywords for the people like me.
And where they're going.
That are introverts.
Having that call to action. We were talking the other day, he was like, I don't want to tell people to subscribe and ring that bell. I'm like,
smash that subscribe button.
I mean, there's ways to do it tastefully.
So if you like this content, follow me.
Well, there's ways to do it tastefully, right? So like you can have the little pop-ups on the screen in the templates like we do. We edit it in. But I always I encourage people, because when you see people on social media, they don't necessarily, if you don't tell them what to do, they don't necessarily do it. If you're like, comment podcast and we'll send you the link. Oh, okay, podcast. But people watch a clip and don't think, I'm going to go watch the full video. Watch the full video. Okay, I'm going to watch the full video. You have to set a command to give them to the next step. And so if you don't do it in your own way, authentically, I feel like you'd be missing out on opportunities. You don't have to be like, smash that button, ring that bell, ride that bull or that horse. No, whatever, just be authentic, right? Or it could be edited in your video.
Yeah. So it's also just adding some context to the end. Be like, and if you are looking to get rid of your nervousness or anxiety, and you
talk about your retreat,
you're talking about them. When you make it about them, they're going to want to come to you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is, what is the goal at the end of each show? What do you want to lead them to beyond the impact? Workshops, retreats, and experiences, consulting, And that we can also help you map that out too.
Great.
So,
and as far as length of the podcast, someone that I work with, his name is Jeff Hazlett. He's part of where he created what's called the C-Suite Network.
Yes.
And he talks a lot about how podcasting and streaming is now blending with traditional television.
Yes.
Where
I feel like it's becoming more popular.
Podcast TV shows traditionally are, a half-hour TV show is actually 24 minutes and then 6 minutes of commercials. An hour-long TV show is 48 minutes with 12 minutes of commercials.
Exactly.
So he recommends that you do your podcast in either 24 or 48 minutes.
We typically say that,
is, for platforms that are more of these hybrid television streaming platforms, they can slot your podcast, and he's got a contract with United Airlines where he will feature your podcast if it's in that 24 or 48 minute time slot.
That's why we do all the 22 minute rooms. Yes.
What do you recommend?
Yeah, no, we actually started leverage that more this past year, and we actually encourage our clients to take on that model. So we would recommend 22 minutes just because we know there's a little bit of buffer time. So if someone's like, we're trying to wrap up something, we're like, let's hit the 22 minute mark. That could leave a little 2 minute buffer, hit that 24 mark. Because that's like, if it's at least within that, it will hit that. But that's what all of our shows typically are. I wouldn't say go over like 30 minutes, unless, of course, you have, following things already, then you could leverage like an hour show like Joe Rogan. But honestly, the 22 minutes where we also say, unless you have like a really special guest, you're like, I'm going to hit that 48 minute mark, especially if you have somebody that has a searchable name that's also searched on YouTube, then the longer version might be a better one for an interview. So,
and then as far as sponsorships, and like I use Megaphone, which allows you to designate where, if sponsors eventually do want to buy spots on your show, how would you, does it matter then if it's that 24 or 48 minutes?
I guess it
does
depends
Megaphone seek out those sponsorships for you based on your...
I would have to look in the back end of Megaphones.
I think the way it works is that you have ad roll, mid roll, and the whatever is at the end. Whatever that's called.
There's certain offers,
but we recommend doing the ads in the front, closer to the front.
Yeah,
in the first 7 minutes, because that's what's they're going to get more traction that way. So if you have two sponsors, you're going to do the pre-roll and the mid-roll.
Well, you take a look in the back and you see what's the average length of the watch time, right? So if it's like, average watch time is 12 minutes out of the 22 minutes, right? We're like, okay, so if you have two ads, you're going to place both ads before the 12-minute mark, if that's the average time frame. But yeah, that's typically on that side. But there's so many things you could do with different sponsorships. I actually have some ideas, but we can talk about that off camera. Well, I'm excited that you're here, and I wish I could talk more on this subject. But we appreciate you being here with us live at the event, recording this. And can you share a little bit more to the audience and camera, like what you're up to now, how they can connect with you on social media, and we'd
sure.
Appreciate
so you can go to my website, colinegglesfield.com, and as you mentioned, I'm doing retreats, I do coaching. This all spawned from my desire to share what has helped me overcome my fear and my anxiety when it comes to being in front of audiences and the camera. I've always been drawn to Tony Robbins and motivational speakers. And I just, growing up, was always, as the middle child, my sister would always speak for me. And I think Anna was mentioning yesterday, is Anna in the room?
Anna.
Yeah, how you would generally speak for your brother, and my sister would do that same thing. People would be like, "Hey, Colin, what kind of ice cream do you want?" My sister would be like, "Oh, he wants chocolate, or he wants this," and I would just be like, I just grew up in this bubble. I mean, I guess I'm more of a introspective decision maker, and so growing up test taking, I'm just a slow test taker.
Hey,
so
me too.
I just felt like my brain doesn't work as fast as everyone else's. So I guess figured that I'm just slow, or I'm not.
No.
And I think we make up these decisions about then where we fit into the world. And I was frustrated because there was things that I wanted to say, and I didn't necessarily know how to say that or how to communicate it. And once I found myself in this acting class in New York City at 24 years old, it was life-changing because the words that I always wanted to say were on the paper. They were on the script.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was just say, like, breathe life into these words. And then what acting class teaches you is how to be able to just ground yourself so that when you are speaking to someone, you get to practice looking at someone in their eyes and connecting with them from their, from the place in your heart center that really creates authentic connection. And where else do you get to practice this in your daily life, right? Yeah. Unless you're like on a date, and then that gets confusing because you may have a physical connection with someone, but then you start dating and you start getting intimate, and then you find yourself 3 months down the road feeling like, okay, physically it felt good in the beginning, but we just don't mesh, or we don't have the same things in common. So then you find yourself intimately in a relationship where you're like, this doesn't, now what? Do I break up? Do we, and so acting class helped me be able to practice having intimate, authentic, real conversations with people where I didn't have to come up with the words because they were on the script. And so this is what I do. I provide a safe space where people can practice having these kinds of conversations, practice looking people in the eye. And it was funny when I first moved out to Los Angeles and I was studying in New York for like 3 years. And when I got out to Los Angeles, I started going to these different networking parties. And in LA, with all these celebrities, if you've been in LA, you're in a restaurant. As soon as the door opens up, everyone turns to look to see, who's that? Is that George Clooney? Is that, oh no, that's just, whoever. And so when you're talking to people in LA, everyone always seems to look like you'll be talking to them and they're constantly looking around, like trying to check out who's in the room to see who's the next best thing. And when I was having conversations with people, my current manager, he said, the reason why I wanted to work with you, Colin, because you were present. And he was like, you looked me in the eye. And I said, well, yeah, because I wanted to know what you had to say about Hollywood and my career. And so I find it very relevant right now, where especially during COVID, where we were all stuck in our homes and cooped up, us being back out there in the real world and trying to figure out how we can connect with each other, and especially kids now who grew up in that COVID era of not being able to go to school, where it's difficult for kids to be able to connect and look people in the eye. I do a scene study class every Wednesday where I provide the opportunity for people to show up and have the script. So the words are there. You don't have to think of them. And I give you practical insight and knowledge on how to connect those words to the other person that you're speaking with and infuse it with whatever it is that you need to be able to fulfill on the objective of that conversation, so that you're not triggered by what people say. You can focus on what is my objective for this conversation. So that's my scene/conversation study class. And then I do my Beyond Impact 8-week inspired communications program, which is all about just throwing you into this incredibly inspiring, safe environment with other people, and tends to be more introverts who want to be able to practice just having these empowered conversations and take your passion for what you do and be able to practice articulating it. I give you a framework for just technical aspects of how to put yourself on camera, framing, lighting, a lot of this stuff that, I learned because I was on these professional film sets, but where else would you learn this stuff?
Film school.
Film school,
That's
right?
what I did.
But you may be a great real estate agent or a great doctor or nurse, but if you're wanting to do a podcast and start sharing your message with the world, there's some technical aspects of this that if you don't get that right and people tune into your podcast and the light is not right, or the microphone is not, right. There's that noise in the communication that can prevent people from authentically connecting to who you are and what your message is. And so that's what I do with my Beyond Impact communications courses. And you can go to my website, colinegglesfield.com, to find out what that is.
And follow you on all social medias. Well, because you have your own Instagram, and then you have the Beyond Impact Mastery, I believe, Instagram as well. Yeah. And we'll be able to share all those links with those that are watching this episode. I'm super grateful for you. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And those watching, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this episode, I highly recommend leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash that subscribe button. Let's go. Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next episode.